Jim Jerry Anderson. We're talking about ongoing efforts to determine how much phosphorus runoff from area farmlands. We've done that with Dr. Libby Dayton today. And so now we move forward. Come on, you do too remember Joni Mitchell and the lyrics, they paid paradise to put up a parking lot. Okay, I'm not going to argue that Toledo's Promenade Park is paradise, but it is green, it is open to a natural resource called the Maumee River. And if the city administration has its way, giving ProMedica its way on this issue, part of Promenade Park will indeed become a parking lot. Well, that's not sitting well with these people. They don't want a multi-story parking lot erasing even part of the view of the Maumee. And more, they think it's not even necessary, that there are better answers. Alice and Ed Weber are among those who think that way. They join me at the leading edge table. You'll remember the Toledo attorney who turned aside 26-year Congressman Lud Ashley to become Ohio's 9th District Congressional Representative. Ed and Alice have remained very active in the Toledo community, supporting many cultural and civic causes. The park will remain 2/3 open to the river, we're being told. So what's your biggest beef with the ProMedica plan?
That's right. And I want to point out that we got into this, Jerry, as a result of a letter that was published by Judge James Carr, the federal district judge. Yeah. He pointed out in his letter that we wouldn't have a Promenade Park if it weren't for the federal government deeding the old federal
building was right there.
Yeah. And that was intended to be a park, and he considers it a breach of faith to use any part of it as a parking garage. We got into it.
So we're clear. Do the Webers support ProMedica moving its headquarters to the old steam plant in adjacent Key Bank building?
I think ProMedica's move is positive for the city. I think there's some issues in their just released letter of intent that City Council, I would trust, would take a close look at.
Okay.
But we do support that move.
Okay, so this is not an anti-ProMedica thing. This is about parkland preservation, natural space preservation. ProMedica has voiced concern about safety of its workers, especially when they have to work after hours. Isn't that legitimate?
I think it is for after-hours people. We do not. We disagree that downtown Toledo is unsafe.
Okay.
But after hours at nighttime, sure, there's a safety consideration. They will be building an underground garage, 1 or 2 stories underground, 100, maybe 200 spaces. That should be adequate for those people who have to work late at night and for their executives that are on the coming and going.
Okay. You have championed an alternative. And that's what I like. If somebody has a beef with something, what would you do better?
That's
well,
right.
Let's talk about what we can do better. You've championed an alternative which you believe would be a win-win situation. I think we have some video of a location in the downtown area. Tell me about that.
Well, between the Blade building and the Vistula garage that is now there is an open space now used as a parking lot owned by the Port Authority that has been made available to ProMedica for the construction of as big a garage as they want to build. That would connect by a tunnel under Summit Street leading over to the #1 Seagate where there's a plaza. You're down on the river at that point. The tunnel runs...
We already have the tunnel system there.
The tunnel is there.
Yeah.
Right.
The tunnel is there. The tunnel is there, and the tunnel runs all the way to the Imagination Station, up an escalator, back down, over to Promenade Park, over to where their offices are going to be. Takes about 7 minutes for me to walk. I'm not a really fast walker, not anymore. It's a perfect solution.
So that location could incorporate both the subterranean and then above ground parking that they're talking about.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
We have a granddaughter several granddaughters who are college age, and they say what a wonderful social corridor that tunnel would once again become. Because all of the space is there for the shops, Jerry. All they have to do is put in the coffee shops, the gift shops, the bakeries, the dry cleaners.
I've walked it, especially when we had energy downtown, and we all agree that ProMedica headquarters is going to bring new energy downtown.
It most certainly will.
All right.
That's the win-win. As you get the traffic down through that corridor, that tunnel, you have what I call economic electricity that's going to revive those shops that are now closed. Not enough going on down there.
There was a reported tentative agreement between the city, i.e. the administration, and ProMedica. At that meeting, we talked with Robin Whitney, ProMedica. She's been a guest on this program before, about some of the protesters and some of the folks saying, we're not big on this Promenade Park deal. Here's what she had to say.
Have looked at other parking alternatives, not only existing parking facilities, but other options for new facilities, and we feel we've come up with the best solution. We haven't gone through and shared that with the public in the past, and there's been a lot of requests for that, so we intend to do that to help really get everybody on the same page and have an understanding of the process we went through and why we've selected this as our preferred solution.
So they've checked out all sorts of other sites. Do we know? Have they checked out this site? Do you guys have conversations with them?
We've been very nicely treated by ProMedica.
We were nice people.
They met with the two of us a number of weeks ago. I do not know why they turned down that parking lot. I guess I have concerns that a parking lot, when there are other options, would be a deal breaker.
Well, you anticipated. Alice, you don't miss a thing. She anticipated my next question because a ProMedica rep has called the parking lot issue a potential deal breaker. Do you believe it? Does that potential worry you at all?
I don't believe it is a deal breaker at all because they've got such a good, reasonable alternative up there at the Vistula. We call it Vistula 2.
Vistula 2, yeah. Son of Vistula, yeah.
It is such a good place for them. I cannot believe that they would walk away because it's a deal breaker.
Oh, I think they care more about the city than to do that, Jerry. I mean, that would be a sad statement to make about the depth of their caring for
our way or the highway?
Yeah.
The city council hasn't signed off on this deal yet. Is there any chance they won't?
Oh, I think that minds can be are open to the alternative, and I think people are going to, on city council are very open to this, and that there will be some minds that will want to.
Short answer, how would you see the deal coming together? Who would pay for the parking structure?
Well, the parking structure will be paid for by ProMedica. That's always been their case.
Okay, as it would be over at Promenade Park. This is just a matter of a difference.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Interesting stuff to be continued. I told you early on, Mike Collins said, is it going to be an issue on this parking thing at Promenade Park? And it is. It's a good, healthy discussion in our
community.
Yes, it is. That's what we need.
Thank you guys for being involved. It's great to see you, Webbers.
Thank you, Jerry.
I'm going to be right back.